Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I will briefly introduce you to our field, experience workshops field in Mathina, which is Logic, and our realm is called Logi-city. Please show the next slide. So this is the main page that you encounter. As you see, it has been refreshed since last night when I took this screenshot. So Daniel's image was a lot nicer than this one. So on the top right quarter, you see Logi-city, and we have developed 4 stories for different age groups and with different mathematical problems. Let's go on to the next slide. First, a few words about our team. Kristof Fenyvesi is known to most of you. He is a STEAM researcher at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland. And he is the founder of Experience Workshop. I am the CEO of Experience Workshop, Nora Somlyody, and I was coordinating Logi-city. I don't have any backgrounds in mathematics, or I don't have more than anybody else who has attended primary and secondary school. I am a journalist. I was working as an investigative journalist for quite a long time before I moved to Finland, and then I changed my profession. And I am what am I now? Project coordinator for Experience Workshop and manager of the company. But luckily enough, if we go to the next slide, you will see that we had a really nice team of mathematicians working with us. The first person I would like to introduce is Anna Mécs. She is a Hungarian writer. She is a well-known name among the young generation of writers. But differently from most of the people in her generation, she's also a mathematician. She wrote her thesis about storytelling and mathematics. But at a certain point, she decided not to continue her career in math, but she became a writer. At some initial point of Mathina, we decided that we would like to work with a real author, so that we won't write our stories ourselves, but would like to cooperate with someone who knows more about writing stories. So luckily we found Anna. And then the second main character in creating our stories is Sándor Róka. He is a Hungarian mathematician, and he is an expert in mathematical thinking development. He has written countless books, and he has organized the mathematical Olympics. So these two people work together in writing, selecting, collecting mathematical problems for our stories, and it was a cooperation in our team finding the final problems that then in the end found their way to the stories. Of course, I have to also mention that we had to face some compromise. So the stories that Anna has written for us are beautiful to read. But of course, if you do the technical implementation of a story, then it had to be shortened and simplified to some extent. Okay, let's proceed to our colleague Ricardo Moschetti. Ricardo is a mathematician from Italy, and he works for Curvilinea. Curvilinea is the Italian partner in Mathina, and he developed the apps for Logi-city, and I cannot say thank you enough times to Ricardo for doing doing all the apps for us. And then a short word about Carrie Osborne, the next slide, and Carrie will be presenting soon after us. Carrie is a teacher. She has a British American background, and she teaches learns in Helsinki, and she's the one who did workshops with children with Logi-city stories, and in a good moment, so she was able to work physically together with the children in spite of the pandemic, and she will tell you more about this. Briefly, I introduce our 4 stories. The first one is meant for age group 4 to 6, and it's entitled The Traffic Light Challenge. Here you see Mathina and Leo. This is only a screenshot, so this story also has animations and apps. But the screenshot shows that the 2 kids, they have walked the city of the Logi-city with their guide, the kangaroo, and they face a last challenge before being able to grab an ice cream. And the challenge is a combinatorics problem, so they should find out how many variations they can create from a 3-colored traffic lamp ahead of them. So if we click on the next slide, then you see how you enter to the app, and then I show you, Kristof shows you the first video, Logi 1, and then you see how the app works in reality. And all of our all of our stories include several versions of the same app. So this is the first one, and later on during this story, it's possible to try 2 more specific versions of this app. And of course, if we talk about the age group 4 to 6, which is like in most countries preschool, then when children are not yet ready to read by themselves, then that's a good moment to play the game together with a parent or an older sister or brother or teacher. So that's how the app works. So you are able to color the blank traffic light. Go back to the first one, Kristof, please. Okay, so maybe we can watch it again. So it's possible to color the traffic lights, and it's possible to remove a color if you were mistaken, and it's also possible to drag it to the dustbin if you think you were mistaken. But this first version has no right or wrong solution. So this is for a first try for experimenting with the colors. Let's move to the second story, which is meant for the age group 7 to 10. And the title is, what's the title? The title is The Tiled Floor Trap. And here again, we encounter Mathina and Leo, and they would like to pass to the building on the right, which has a strange label, you tick Eagle or I tick Eagle, but obviously it's Logi-city, just the other way around. And in order to pass there, they have to go through a pattern, which has a certain rule. The story encourages children to think the other way around, so to use reverse thinking. And if we proceed, then we see the pattern we see the application. Yes. And here Leo is trying to find the right way from the end to the beginning. And the rule is that he can only move between identically colored fields or between identical shapes. And now he succeeds and arrives at the beginning. So this app also has two versions throughout the story. I think we can move to the third story for the next age group, and that's for from 11 to 14, and it's entitled Cats and Dogs. And this story focuses on the art gallery problem. On this image, you see the layout of Logi-city streets, and you see a lot of characters. You see two policemen on the right, and you see Mathina, you see Leo, and you see a thief in the center. The thief has stolen all even numbers from Logi-city. And the policemen are chasing him, and Mathina and Leo try to help them. And it turns out, of course, that two policemen are not enough to patrol all those streets. Let's go to the app. Not this one, but this one. And here you see two hats symbolizing the two policemen. And here children, users can make a try whether it is possible to patrol all those streets if it's only two policemen. And by dragging the hat, the streets patrolled get highlighted. And of course, it's not possible, so you need more policemen, but this can be experimented with in another application, which you will be free to try later on. And let's move to the last story, which is for the age group 15 to 19, and it's entitled My God, Please. Here, Mathina and Leo encounter Logi-city's soccer team and their trainer. And the team has received an enormous amount of gold medals. And the trainer explains how they will share this amount of gold medals. And this story focuses on the divisibility rule by 9. And the boys don't get the point, so they don't know how to solve this problem, but Mathina is there to help them. So the first team member receives the sum of the digits of the number of gold medals the entire team has received, and then the second one receives that much less from the total number, and so on and so forth. And if we go to the application video, then you see that you can generate a table and experiment with those numbers, and then enter the sum of the digits of this number, and then again, and so on and so forth. So this app appears several times during the story, and users can experiment with it. Okay, I think we have seen enough of this app, and I also let Kristof speak a bit about our pedagogical goal with all these stories. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Nora. I think we are a little bit over time now, according to your schedule. So I just try to wrap it up very quickly. So as many of you know already, Experience Workshop, we are very much focusing on active learning. So how to involve, how to engage children into learning, and of course this is goes natural when you come together physically and you have all these physical activities and all these wonderful modeling tools, what you can also see on this picture. But it was a new adventure for us, and that's why we were really happy to team up with Imaginary and Attractor, who has more experience also in this digital engagement and how to engage children in digital activities as well. So this was a new way for us to combine these approaches. And actually the involvement of these key people like Anna Mech, the writer, and Sándor Róka, the problem-solving education expert was a really nice combination to start this, because there are many studies already in neuropsychology, in cognitive psychology, about how the brain learns. And of course, we know it from these studies that the brain keep making narratives, keep making stories, keep organizing information into various structures. And we also know it from the history, from experience, that, for example, if you think about the history of mathematics and the history of famous problems of the mathematics, it's usually somehow embedded into different kind of stories, different kind of anecdotes. Of course, the whole scene has changed with modern science, and we are not anymore can tell the stories related to abstract mathematics. But still, if we would try to invent also a lot of more stories to introduce children to these problems, maybe that could be a natural way to open up mathematical beauty for the children and the people. And our approach was concentrated that, for example, in small children, it's very basic and very important thing that parents and children and teachers and children share stories, and they learn through stories and related activities to these stories, and they start to play around with the stories. And in this kind of approach, the help of the writer and the problem-solving expert, who has already had a lot of books in connection with logi stories. That's how he calls them, that those kind of stories what make you think, make you engage, those kind of riddles, what you are motivated to find out, like who done it ways. And we tried to systemize these approaches and bring it into this experience-oriented format in the form of these activities. So it was mainly experience workshops, contribution related to logics. We have other Erasmus Plus projects also going on, because this all has been supported by the European Commission. So we also found a lot of connections with our other projects, which you can see on the screen. And I think it's really the time to give the floor to the next speaker. And in the conversation, in the question and answers part, we can discuss more details later.